Hi, this is a disclaimer as a mock counseling session for human sexuality, and I have Jerry with me, and she is not going to actually be on film. You might see parts of her from here or there, but we're going to protect her identity until after grading. Anyway, again, as a disclaimer, this is not a real counseling session. It is a mock counseling session for human sexuality. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How about you?
I'm good, thanks. The last time we were together, we put you through some questionnaires and health topics and stuff along those lines in order to try and help you out since you're beginning menopause. Correct?
Yes.
Have you had a chance yet to see a doctor to get a blood screening or a physical?
No, not yet.
Do you have an appointment scheduled?
Yes.
Good. Only because as we go through the process and your husband's able to join us again, I know he can't be with us tonight, but as he's able to join us again, if you have that one thing off the table that you can say has nothing to do with it, it's less pressure for you. It gives you less to worry about. We can just wipe it right off the table, okay? So I think tonight what I would like to talk about is things that you can do for your husband that will spark some intimacy between the two of you, even though you're raising 3 grandchildren and you're in and out of school and you both have full-time jobs, and that way you can do little things that may or may not result in actual sexual act, but you'll have that sense of sexual intimacy. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yes.
Is there something that you could think of that you would do or do for Daniel now in regards to that?
Yeah, like spend time with him and, talk about my day at work or just about the kids, or like what went on with one of the kids or talk about Xander's practice, football practice or whatever.
So you're able to make that connection that way?
Yes.
Okay. What about the times that you never talk about the kids? That it's just about you and Daniel?
Yeah, I mean we have those moments when we just talk about what we're gonna do the week over the weekend or what we want to do, like plan for a trip or maybe goals or.
Great word, goals. Great word. And I love to hear that you guys use that type of terminology with one another, because most couples don't. But if I remember correctly, you've been married 16 years?
Yes, 16.
And you have children of your own, but you're currently raising 3 grandchildren, all under the age of 8.
Yes.
God bless you. And I'm sure that is a huge stressor.
Yes, it is.
When it comes to sexuality, the little things that women have a tendency to do for their man, and I don't necessarily mean cooking, but sometimes it's wearing a certain cologne or wearing a certain shirt. Maybe it's his shirt, and it kind of sends a signal. You know what I mean? Have you and Daniel had any time since you're raising 3 children to have moments where that might happen, even if you have no expectations for later?
Honestly, probably not.
Do you miss it?
Sometimes I do, yeah, but sometimes I don't. I don't know. I do, but I kind of feel like just being busy, and I guess I have it in my mind that I'm busy raising kids, and I just know how I'm going, and doing for them, and I just almost feel hopeless sometimes, like when am I going to ever catch a break,
Mm-hmm. speaking about the term hopeless. Is there something that you could do to change feeling that way?
I mean, I guess well, I guess whenever I say hopeless, I guess I feel like our romantic, us being romantic or, intimate with each other, I just feel like it's like, I kind of have to kind of push that out the door because I feel like, just so busy, and I just don't see that that's going to happen,
So, if I hear you correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, sometimes the idea of being intimate is easier to put on the back burner because of the possibility that it won't actually happen?
Well, not on my part. I mean, probably on his part, he would like it too. But
I understand that. I understand. And I'm going to tell you right now that, Daniel had provided me some answers to these questions. And one of the things that he did say is that there is such a split between time to have the actual act happen versus just having the romance. And I think that's a very common myth that women feel like men always want to have sex, when sometimes they just want the intimacy. And there is such a big difference. But in the same sense, women feel like if they're intimate, then they have to have sex. And if they're not feeling well, the proverbial, we have a headache, hot flashes since you're going through menopause, children getting up and down, and you're up and down, you're up and down. So we put it on the back burner. What I want you to know is that's normal for any relationship. So my job, because that's what you're here for, is to give you some ideas of ways to be intimate, but not necessarily copulate sexually. It could be a meal that you haven't cooked for him in years. It could be a football game where you just sit and hold his hand. Little things, lighting his favorite candle, wearing his favorite cologne, wearing his favorite shirt with his cologne on you, not him, is going to send a signal. And so I know your husband's a Dallas Cowboy fan.
Yes.
What would happen if you wore his jersey? What would he think?
I don't know. I never thought about it.
It's little things. If I could encourage both of you, and again, I'll give this information to Daniel too, do little things for each other. If he packs his lunch, put a love note in it. Have a good day, honey, I love you. If you go to the cleaners and pick up his clothes, stick the note in one of his pockets. He'll find it eventually. Doesn't have to be an immediate. I know that we've talked about the 3 children and that they're all under the age of 8. Does Daniel do things with one or another and you do things with the other? How do you split your time?
Well, he'll sometimes like if he's home before Xander goes to football practice, he'll get him ready and take him. Or, he'll help me, like if it's, getting them up in the morning for school.
Mm-hmm.
He'll help me, like while I'm getting one ready, he'll get Drayden ready. Because Drayden's the hardest one to wake up.
Is that the littlest one?
The 3-year-old, yeah. And, he just helps me out, with the kids. We say we're a team,
So do you see him more as a helpmate or just your spouse?
Well, my spouse, it's kind of different for both of us because, we've never raised grandkids. It's, different for him because, he's married into grandkids, where,
Mm-hmm.
it's my second marriage, but I mean, he's good to the kids.
Does that cause you a little bit of guilt? Is that what I'm picking up on?
No, I don't. No, I don't feel guilty because I mean, Daniel really treats them like they're his own.
I've seen that. I agree with that.
He's never says he's grandpa. You know, he's their papa. You know, he don't ever treat him any different. You know,
Yeah.
you know, he's been with me since the first one was born. So you know, he sees them as his grandkids.
And I give him credit for that, because you know, the one thing that I know for divorced homes, and then you blend a family, is that they don't always accept the children as their own, and that's both men and women. So I'm grateful to hear that you don't feel guilty in that department, and that Daniel does do so well with the kids. And I have seen him with the kids, obviously, but it's still a nice point to realize, to give you back the credit, that you're more helpmates. And that's how Christ designed us, was to help one another. It's not just the roles of a husband. It's not just the roles of a wife. We're helpmates. But we're helpmates differently. And I don't know what you know about that part of our Christian faith.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying now. Whenever you said, I guess I got kind of confused. I thought maybe you were asking if I just was with him for help.
No. I'm sorry. That's on me. No, some people view marriage differently. They view it as, this is my helpmate, my soulmate, my spouse. They don't ever necessarily clarify. And so I wanted you to hear that what he's doing is really a good job.
Yeah. And I mean, he always, you know, because he started saying that first, you know, we're a team. You know, we help each other out, you know, we're a team. You know, it's teamwork.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that, you know, that just makes me love him, you know, because I think, my gosh, he must love me because he has been with me through a lot of stuff.
Well, and I know that this session doesn't necessarily know a lot about some of that past, but I do know that in a previous session with you, that there was some guilt over some things going on with your daughter, and feeling like you just couldn't do enough to help her. Do you ever feel that way about Daniel, or is your marriage, your relationship tighter than that?
I think we have a really good, strong marriage. I mean, I guess we're both under the understanding that we're going to go through things, and we both know that we're together because we love each other, and I don't want to go back out and be single again, and he doesn't either, so.
I can relate.
You know.
If you could do the fantasy date, just you and him, what would you do?
Probably go to a different country.
Like?
I mean, that would be fun. I think just me and him.
For a weekend, or
Yeah.
3 or 4 days? Where would you like to go?
He's talked about going like to Italy, and I think, or maybe it's Spain. He wants to go. I can't remember which one it is, but he wants to go somewhere.
Both are very romantic either way. They're known for their romance. So, what kind of goals do you and Daniel need to set to get there?
Well, we plan on going one day. Even if it's when the kids are older, and they can, I don't know.
Take care of themselves?
Yeah, well, because I don't know how long we'll have them, really.
Well, let me spin this to you in a different manner, using that thought of setting goals. What kind of goals could I help you and Daniel set to make time for each other? Whether or not there's any sexual activity, just time. Where you can talk about those goals, where you can talk about how much money you're going to put in the cookie jar, or whatever you do. How could I help the two of you make that time?
I don't know, maybe just give us some advice. I mean, always try to say I'm gonna get the kids to bed early, and
Kids are kids.
I wanted to get them to bed early. I'd like to get them to bed at 8, because then that kind of gives us some time to, because we talk a lot at night,
Well,
after they're already asleep.
And Daniel told me that he has a habit of messaging you or talking to you when he's coming home from work or whatever, because he has some drive time.
Mm-hmm.
And he considers that his cool off period, and that you're the one person that he really enjoys speaking to. I thought that was very heartfelt, and I like that aspect, that he was willing to put it out there. So some of the things that Daniel mentioned with me was maybe keeping an intimacy journal, where you get like a regular 70-page notebook, and you have colored pens. One color's yours, one color's his, and you just leave something sweet for one another, or you just leave a favorite memory, something for the other person to read when they come home, or whenever they have a minute and they look in this mutual spot that you pick. I also thought that was very unique for a man, that he would want a written sentiment. To me, that's a woman thing, not categorizing one way or the other, but habit has shown normally it's the women who want the mushy gushy stuff. He also mentioned maybe doing a picnic in the backyard, just you and him. Wouldn't necessarily need a babysitter. Kids would be fine, they could come and go, but it's y'all's time. Do either of those sound like good ideas to you?
Yeah, we sometimes do that. We'll sit outside in the backyard, and the kids will swim, and we'll just sit out there and talk, and kind of talk about our day, or...
Well, I would like to encourage you to not talk about the kids, to not talk about the finances, to reconnect on a personal level with your husband. Not necessarily because the connection is broken, but the stronger the fibers, the longer they hold. So maybe talk about the vacation you'd like to take. Find out today what the cost would be, even though it's going to change, flights change, whatever. Make a plan together. Something that you both, a connection that you both have of a goal, and you know what you're working for. And in the same sense, I'm going to relate it to sexual activity, sexual intimacy. It's the same kind of thing. It's okay to schedule sex with your husband. To say, hey, the kids are in school today. Can you be 30 minutes late for work? It's okay to put it down on a calendar. Yes, it takes the romance out of some of it, but you can build up to it the days before. Have a water fight, have a food fight, have, slip off into the bedroom when he's in the bedroom changing his clothes, just to give him a very romantic, passionate kiss. It's going to leave him wanting more, but maybe it's going to leave you wanting more too. And I'm sure your grandchildren have seen you kiss your husband. They're not going to think one way or the other. So if I reflect back, first of all, have your physical exam. Yes, you've begun menopause, and we all know, but as your hormones change, other things change too, especially in the sexual department. And there are medications for that. There are creams for that. There are things that will help you feel less like you're changing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And without necessarily doing hormone replacement therapy. At this point, I don't see that you and Daniel have a need to be referred on for sexual therapy, but I think you need to build your sexual communication. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
It's the things that make us tick. to put it in a different way. If I could lead you to do that together. It's a little vulnerable. It's risky. You'll have to be willing to laugh at one another because it's not something that we're accustomed to. But just like you discuss your bills, your bodies are changing. Your lives have changed. So you have to talk about all of that too. Because even your sexuality has changed. How could you start that conversation with Daniel?
Oh, we do. We laugh. I mean, we laugh about
Laughter's
certain
good.
things or
Laughter's good.
talk about things. I mean,
That's good. Well, I'm going to give you some homework. And I've already talked to Daniel about it. I know he couldn't be with us tonight, but I have already talked to Daniel about it. The journal is a go. He has agreed to do the intimacy journal. And I look forward to not necessarily seeing the journal, but I'm going to take your word for it. This is between you and Daniel. If you have something you want me to see, if it's something that we need to discuss, that's different. But I just want to see the light in your eyes as a couple, and I will know that you've done what you need to do. The other thing is I would like you to find 15 minutes one day for each other. It could be washing dishes. It could be folding clothes. It could be taking a shower. It could be intimate or not intimate. Just 15 minutes. It's just you two. To reconnect that fiber of strength. You don't even have to say anything. But document it. And during that time, whatever thoughts the two of you have, it feels awkward. I'm embarrassed. It's a risk. How do I know she's going to accept it? How do I know he's going to accept it? Write it down. Let's talk about it. Because I'll bet you he feels the same way. So if I can get you over that hump, you guys will be back on the road to communicating about everything. And everything else will fall into place. What do you think?
sounds good.
Is there anything going through your thoughts right now that you want to bring to the table for clarity or?
No.
Great. I have enjoyed this session and I hope you have too. And it was very nice to hear Daniel laugh over some of this stuff as I was talking to him about it.
Yeah.
But you have my number. You know what your homework is. You know what your goals are. So let's set a time for next week or the week after, however it plays out, so that you have time to journal and you have time for a 15-minute date, even if it's over laundry. Fair?
Sounds fair.
Great.